Hi everyone. I am excited to go through some of my favorite trends for this year with you. It's the end of January, so all of the publications have came out and they've kind of told us what are the things that are going to define 2024 in the world of interior design. And I'm excited to share some of my favorites with you. So first off, I do want to say that I do actually kind of like trends only when they are things that are really rooted in classic design. So I think last year we saw the trends of like checker, harlequin. I think that those are actually timeless because you've been seeing checker and harlequin floors in homes for hundreds of years, and I don't think that that's a bad trend. I think that if it's a trend that you can see that was really in style 100 years ago, then I think it's a good trend to embrace. And all the trends I'm going to talk to you today are pretty much like that. Things that I would steer away from are things that are new and things that have never trended before. And things that I would say is like that whitewashed barnwood, things like that that you didn't really see in design 100 years ago, things that are quickly made, things that are made with not quality materials. So with that being said, my first design trend of this year that I am really excited about is the comeback of red. I'm really excited because I actually like red a lot in interiors, and I'm not talking about like the 90s deep red kitchens that a lot of our parents had. Love you, Mom. I think that embracing a more vibrant red in a more modern way. So there is this whole thing that's been trending around on TikTok, which I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it is called the unexpected red theory. I'm not sure who coined it, but I will find that and link it below. But basically what it's saying is that adding red into an area in just a dose really elevates the room and takes something that's boring and makes it really amazing. A really good example of that would be taking a glass pane door and painting that red and just having that really nice clean pop of red in a space. So I think that that's a really good way to play with this trend. I think that red really hasn't gone anywhere. I think that we got really sick of it in the 90s for sure, but there are so many shades of red that I think can be really brought into your home really beautifully. I'm currently planning a red striped room in my house, which is secret. And I'm excited to be bringing a little bit more red into my space. I do have a full-on pink living room, and I'm not afraid of color, but if you are a little afraid of color, I would recommend bringing in some red lamps into your space to just test it out, see if you like the color pop. But I'm not necessarily here for a pop of color. I like everything being color, but I do think that a little pop of red in an area just does really elevate your space. The next trend is really shouldn't be a surprise to any of you, and that is color drenching. I'm personally really excited to see this popping up in interiors this year as a trend because I've been doing it in my house for a couple of years now. So color drenching is when you paint the trim, the walls, the ceiling, all the same color. You can see that I did this in my guest room, in my bedroom, my kitchen, and also my living room. I think that if you've been inside of a color drenched space, you can understand how amazing and transformative that experience is. It's really hard to go back to the 4 color walls and a white ceiling once you've experienced a color drenched space. I think that there are unique ways that you can also do color drenching. It doesn't have to be in a super saturated color. You can actually color drench things in white. I think that you can do that if you are picking, let's say, Swiss Coffee by Behr. That's one of my favorite. I think Benjamin Moores is really similar. You could paint that on your ceiling, your walls. If you have cabinetry on those walls, painting it out the same color. You can color drench in any color. So I think that this is something that a lot of people can play with and have fun with. Like, it's just paint. So I think that that's the beauty of this trend is if you don't like it, you can paint it. And you're not really at a loss for anything other than a little bit of paint and time. But I think color drenching is just a really special thing. And again, this we've seen for a very long time actually. We got away from color drenching for quite a few decades there, probably around 50 or so, but you can see like historic rooms in the UK that are color drenched. I think I was talking to someone recently about color drenching, and they were like, yeah, I was watching Downton Abbey and they had some color drenched rooms. And the set designers are really good in that. They know that it's not like a today trend necessarily. It was like something that people were doing back then. Also wallpapering ceilings. I think that just having fun and like not making your home so serious is what color drenching is all about to me. It's creating different experiences in different spaces of your home and making it fit for you and what you love. The next trend that I am excited about is silver. I am personally excited about seeing this trend. This totally makes sense to me because we have seen a lot of movement towards brass over the last few years. And specifically in design, designers have been really using a lot of unlacquered brass, which I love. And I don't think that that's like a trend necessarily since it's been around for a long, long time. But I do think that the pendulum swings with trends, right? So we've been seeing a lot of brass, so it makes sense that we're gonna move towards silver for a little while. My favorite interpretation or way to incorporate silver in your home is actually going to be through antique silver finishes. I do like chrome, so, and I do think stainless steel has its moments as well. But I do really think that the antique silver patina is just really, really pretty in the space. I like to mix metals as well, so I think that there's no reason you can't mix some antique silver pulls with a brass faucet. Just have fun with it. And I think that actually one of my favorites is Deval Kitchens out of the UK. They do an amazing job with all of their metal finishes for their faucets, and they actually came out with an antique silver tap this year, and it's just stunning. I think that anything that has a patina is a living finish that will really change over time is something so beautiful, and I love it in silver. I also love it in gold or brass. I love it in brass. Another trend that I'm loving is something that really has been trending over the last couple of years. So it's not necessarily something new, but I think that we're gonna see wallpaper brought into a lot more Americans' homes. So I love wallpaper. I've been using wallpaper in my homes for years, like many designers and people who love interiors. It's something that people didn't do a whole ton of in the early 2000s, but frankly, we were doing a lot of all white everything, too stale. So I think that because that pendulum swung that way for so long, now everyone's wanting to incorporate a lot of color, a lot of personality and pattern into their spaces, which I think is so beautiful because that's when a home really becomes a reflection of you and what you really love. I'm excited to see a lot more peel and stick wallpaper options too. I think that that makes it really accessible for everybody to hop onto some wallpaper, give it a try. And wallpaper is just made a little differently now than it was decades ago. I think that a lot of people who have stripped wallpaper off of walls from wallpaper in the 80s really have a bad taste in their mouth with wallpaper. But I think that the wallpaper now is just a little bit easier to remove, which makes it more accessible. People feel like it's less of a commitment. And I just think that wallpaper just brings an entirely different feeling into a space that paint can't. And I'm really excited to see how wallpaper is incorporated into a lot of people's homes this year. And I'm personally looking at wallpapering my entire upstairs bedroom, which is huge. But I just think that a small scale wallpaper in there would just make it something so special. And I'm excited to see if I can make that one happen. And lastly, but definitely not least, is the return of dark wood finishes. I'm personally excited about this one because I have dark wood floors in my house. I have a lot of dark wood furniture. I think that the saturation of dark wood is really well complemented with all the colors I have in my home. I think that the bright colors I have in my walls really makes those dark rich woods really pop in a really lovely way. It just makes the wood look even more rich than it even is. I am extra excited because I am personally a little sick of bleached furniture. I'm sick of seeing things that are stripped down, bleached, and I have a really hard time knowing that a beautiful wood finish was painted. So I don't necessarily love antique wood painted furniture. There's a time and a place for it, absolutely. But if we're talking like antique oak or antique mahogany, rosewood teak, never, ever, ever would I paint those personally. To each their own. Like, I think that you can do some painted furniture really beautifully. I love seeing some of these more hand-painted furniture items that are painted with a lot of detail and design. I think those are really lovely, but I don't really love the whole light wood tones everywhere. It's just not my taste. I know that a lot of people love that look, and it's just not for me, and that's okay. So I am excited to see the dark, rich wood tones making a comeback, especially this year. Also seeing it in trim, in woodwork. I think that craftsmanship now is much different than it was 100 years ago. So I love seeing people strip their woodwork and bringing it back to that natural wood, letting it shine. I know I have painted woodwork in my house, and you can probably see a little bit of the trim and doors behind me. They were not a pretty color, not a pretty wood. So I have no regrets about painting those. I'm talking about those like 1920s homes where it's really, really thick trim and it's just beautiful oak or mahogany. And I just like, it makes my heart so happy to see people stripping the paint off of those and bringing them back to life. So those are my 5 favorite trends to hop on for 2024. I am really excited about all of these things. Like I said, I think that these trends are not necessarily things that are gonna be out of style in a couple years. I think that these are things that have been in style, will continue to be in style, and even though they're having a moment right now, I think it's just bringing some attention to them. But these are some more timeless, classic ways to bring some trends into your spaces. I also like that these are all really pretty affordable, accessible ways to test out some new things. I don't love when there's a new trend and it's like a thing that went viral from a certain store and everybody's getting it. Those aren't my favorite types of trends. I like trends that push people, challenge people, and bring them into make their space different and make their life different. So I hope that you're excited about these trends. Make sure to comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's other trends that you're really excited about to see for this year. And thank you for watching. Be sure to click subscribe below.